Here we're taking on the last 5 weeks, starting at Buckby, where a pair of SD70M-2s lead an ethanol empty through a slow water. This is likely my last video focusing mostly on the CN Freeport sub, as I've relocated about 20 minutes north, which takes me closer to CPKC's Rockford sub and the Union Pacific Harvard sub. With tire replacement happening nearby, the pair of SD70M-2s and SD75I lead M337 slowly upgrade. M337 of the 7th had a colorful front end, with a BNSF leader, a former City Rail motor trailing, and a Grand Trunk Western GP38-2. A high railer happened to trail this move across 20th Street that night. Later on, we would catch up at Kishwaukee Street with a grain empty, with a BNSF motor leading 7006 and an SD75I Canadian National motor trailing. On the 9th, the so-called CN Heritage Unit led M337 at Broadway. On the 10th, the Grand Trunk Western GP38-2, 4918, that we saw on M337 at Buckby a few nights earlier, was working with L561 in Rockford. Here we find them on the Rockford South Belt servicing J.L. Clark Plastics, where they trade a load for an empty. Later that night, I caught another SD70M-2 leading M337 at 11th. The following night, I revisited one of my favorite spots at Seminary Street. Here we catch a set of grain loads as they throttle upgrade with a pair of SD70M-2s leading and knocking down Control Point Rockford East. On the 13th, a pair of CSX motors led X337 in the rain. Following very closely behind X337 on this rainy night was M337, with a trio of SD70M-2s. They were running on approaches through Rockford. On the morning of the 14th, eastbound G886 was lined through Rockford, with a Union Pacific and Illinois Central GE duo leading. Here I caught up with them at 11th Street, where it's an excellent location to hear the motors pulling upgrade. On the 15th, I went to Buckby to catch a set of grain empties led by a BNSF and Canadian National GE duo. Later that afternoon, I went to Kishwaukee Street behind the old Tester's factory to catch ethanol blended fuel empty U713. Not far behind was M337 with a BNSF duo. I stuck around at Rockford East long enough to catch the restricting aspect before going to South Mulford Road to catch M337 here for the first time.